Hey everyone, Kane here, and in this video we're gonna go over Battle Tournament, all the newest 5 formations, and how I passed them myself. Now, a fair warning for the people, I messed around with my audio, and apparently I had this particular microphone on 25% in one of the Windows settings. So I raised it to 60%, so a little bit more than double, so do keep in mind that you shouldn't put the volume up to 100 like most people did before. So again, fair warning, try to lower down your volume and see how well it is, and you can also let me know in the comments down below whether or not it kind of improved or it became worse or stuff like that. So, heading on to the first battle, as you can see, I use 4 swordmen, blue ones in particular for the mushrooms, I suppose, and since the guardians also do some magic damage, as well as 4 red or rather dire archers, which will help in killing those trees. And then we have 1 healer, we have Yip for damage, we have Varian for revival, Avalon, as well as Alana, the 4 heroes. Now, do keep in mind that Varian will be able to revive the swordman, so you don't need to really worry about swordman dying, as you can see. And do keep in mind you have to save the Crusader Resurrection, the skill at the bottom, in case any of the swordmen do happen to die. Essentially, you can probably auto this event or don't really cast anything, and in the end, you just crusade the resurrection. It really is up to you. And that was a pretty easy battle, I suppose. Now, the second stage is pretty much Lich Skeletons and also Sylvani Mushrooms. The reason for that is the Lich Stalkers will almost never die. And even if they do, if you do have Gazel on the field, I do believe the passive of the Revival will still be active even if he dies. So essentially, the Lich Skeletons will be reviving and taking a lot of time to kill, buying time. And the mushrooms, the further the battle goes, the further they scale, the spores become pretty big. They do quite a bit of damage, and since they grow, they also grow in power and damage and all those kinds of things. You're gonna see them pretty humongous by the end of the battle. So we cannot cast kill, so basically we can, or rather I had a 3x speed, but I think I was a little bit lagging, so the battle is not as quick. So as you can see, they're slightly growing in size. The mushrooms, or rather spores, are killing all of the front line, while the, I suppose, mushrooms are killing the back line. And yeah, as you can see, the stalkers are nearly dead, but some of them revived, and the enemy wasn't even able to pass it. So no sweat, stage 2 as well. Now, stage 3, it took me quite a bit to actually make a formation. I thought about trying like Rakan, Rakan monks, all that kind of stuff. I nearly had it a few times, but then I just went with Deadeyes because I know this event just literally belongs to Deadeyes, and you don't really need anything else apart from heroes. Pretty much, Deadeyes clear everything almost by themselves. But you do have to, or you can place all of the heroes. So going into the battle, I suppose, since my Avril is frontline, I cast the Blizzard. I cast majority of the spells that I can cast, starting with Blizzard, starting with, I suppose, Ophidia, Basric, Rufio Jump to start proccing the Elios Pride on the, I suppose, backline or the tanks, and then essentially help out on the left side, which is lacking on the DPS in terms of dwarf and etc. And in the end, I think a few seconds left, I tag the farthest tank, I suppose, so I can actually kill it and everything what's in front with quite a few units, and with 2 seconds to spare, I did manage to finish it. And as you can see, the damage, Mallory did most of it, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna just go a little bit back, yeah. So, As you can see, Valerie did most of it. Deadeyes, 3 top DPS, and pretty much nothing else. Not really matters, I suppose. Some damage, sure, but like Deadeyes is pretty much the core in that particular stage. So, stage 4. This stage, you cannot place a dragon and you have to place 4 heroes, and essentially, literally, when you have something like that, you only think about Sylvani trees and you only think about mushrooms like this. The easiest way to pass this without any sweat, even without even casting any skills, is just Sylvani trees and the mushrooms. Like, don't need anything else. So this one, we go on to the battle. Again, don't really need to cast any abilities. The abilities are just for, I suppose, even style points, because nothing is the abilities don't do that much damage as the mushrooms and the spores will do. So this is just debuffs, but as you can see, even the trees are not taking almost any damage whatsoever. So regardless of the abilities, uh, it really doesn't matter in terms of debuffing and whatever. The mushrooms are damaging the backline, the spores are killing all the frontline, and in just a second, like majority of those or these spores will just go on to the enemy backline, and it's over, like as you can see here. Pretty much no sweat, no army. I think no army died except for a couple of heroes in the back. Now, this is probably, rather, this is the 5th stage, and this is probably the hardest one to, or rather, for most players to actually pass. Now, I didn't showcase the entire formation, but I am using full front line of Scorpions, and it's pretty important because the Rakan archers will not kill any of the Scorpions. And then I'm using the mechs. Now, if you don't use mechs, I think the Rakan archers will focus one of the Scorpions and eventually kill at least one. So I just try to put on the mechs, and a bit later I kind of recall them. So heroes, you can pretty much pause the video or even check what I'm doing right now in terms of heroes, maybe copy, and pretty much we cannot place any dragons. Oh, sorry, one moment. So, when the clock hits 1 minute 26, we're gonna have to cast Raxius in that position. So, the archers start to fire off, and we have to cast the lantern. 1 second. You have to tag most of the archers at least in line of your heroes, otherwise, your heroes are going to die. So, you stunned most of the archers, I think like 2.5 squads in here. You do have to wait because I think the stun is like 2 seconds. So don't just waste it fully. Wait a bit, then cast it when you see either them firing or you have like 2 seconds already checked from here. Yeah, I had paused it before. Stun them, started casting some abilities that I found useful. 2 seconds passed, I think 2.5, and I decided to stun them again, and they're starting to die. And in such a case, you don't need to worry about like these archers since they're hitting mechs and scorpions, and start focusing your damage, I suppose, either on these mechs right here or killing those archers right there. Now, do keep in mind that the left side, the mechs that you have placed, are taking quite a bit of damage from those 3 squads. So, you have to recall this mech squad right here, otherwise, one of these mechs are going to die. And I kind of recalled it just because I don't, or rather, I didn't want to redo this particular stage multiple times. So in this stage, you actually have to cast skills and quite a few good ones. And I think the last, like, really most important ability was the recall. And after that, it really doesn't matter what you do. The stage is pretty much won already as it is, since scorpions are mostly in the front line and the verms cannot do anything else. And that is pretty much what the event is about. There is nothing, or rather nothing much else, pretty much self-explanatory stages. The fifth stage, I think, is pretty much similar or the same as before. I think even a couple of these stages are actually the same as before. So majority of the time, can only really need one video for this, and I may not even need to redo a video after video. Anyways, hopefully this is useful for you. If it was, do let me know in the comments down below, as well as how the volume is. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe out there.